Oh, yes, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joram, and today we are starting a new project, or we are starting a new topic. That's a CRUD operation. So on CRUD operation here, simply, if I can take you through this, is what we are going to do in CRUD operation. CRUD operation simply, it simply stands for create, read, update, and delete. So that's what we are going to be doing this in this uh, project. So we are going to see how we can create, how we can read, update, and delete our information through our website, and and that information, when we create, read, update, and delete from our website, can also be automatically updated or created or deleted from our database from the back end. So to do all those things, what you have to do is two simple things that we are going to do today. So allow me to dive into what you are going to do today. So firstly, all these create, read, update, and delete, we are going to be doing it in different tutorials. So they are too long, we can't do in one tutorial. But today, my emphasis is how to connect our database with our what? With our website, and how we can, which language we are going to use. But here we are going to use a PHP language that we are going to connect our database with our website. So simply, this is what we are going to do. If we haven't download something, we are going to use what we call XAMPP. So if I haven't downloaded XAMPP, I'm going to use XAMPP. So here I'm going to, let me first stop it. And so if you haven't used XAMPP, or you don't know how to download XAMPP, so this is how you go to your browser. You just type here, just type XAMPP download, and you come here, over here, and from there you're going to see. Now here, when you reach here, you download according to the bit of your of your machine, or your PC, or your laptop, or the desktop, so whatever. So we are going to use XAMPP here. XAMPP here simply is going to work for us as a Apache and MySQL as our host. So Apache is going to be our host, and MySQL as a database that we are going to use for connecting these two things. So when I start here, my Apache is acting as a local host within my PC or within your computer, because now what we are going to do here is a web-based system. So it needs some, in order for it to run, it have to be hosted. And right now we can't be doing it when it is hosted. So what we do, we use XAMPP. All other people, they use WAMP, like that. So it helps us, it provides us with a local host within our machines, within our computers, within our laptops, so that everything that we do, we are able to run it in any browser that we have in our computers, so, or our laptops. So when I'm going to start my Apache that's acting as a local host, and my SQL here that's as a connection of my database. So after doing it, I'll stop it. Then another thing that we are going to use, we are going to use Visual. For my case, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. But if you haven't downloaded Visual Studio Code, you just come, you follow the same thing. You just say Visual Studio Code download here. So when you come here, you're going to see Visual Studio Code. You click on it, wait for it to come. So here, when you're using Mac, you choose what you want. When you're using Windows or so, you choose for the Windows. So you go and follow the procedures there and download. So that's how, what I can say about XAMPP, and what I can say about XAMPP and what and Visual Studio. So let's go back to our tutorial. So today, what we are going to look at, basically, we are going to look how to connect. So what I'm going to do first, we have to create a database. So to create a database, after starting your XAMPP, starting your Apache and MySQL here. So what you do, you come to your browser here. So what we are going to do, simply, we are going to type localhost. I'm going to type localhost, but in my case, I've been doing this for many times. So I'm going to type localhost slash something PHP my admin. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's going to run. So when I tap on it, it's It will take some seconds to come. Now here, you see we are going to create our database. So if you download XAMPP and install it properly and follow all the instruction, when you go to your browser and type localhost slash php slash php my admin, so this what you will get. This what you will get. What you're going to get looks like this. So simply here, this is our how this is where we are going to create our database, our table, so that whenever anything that we do from our site, from our website, it will be stored in our database. So how do you create our database here? So first you come here where you see it's new here. I don't know if I can zoom this, if you're seeing. So yes, there. So you come to new here, click on new, wait for it to run. So you come to database name. So maybe my database name, I'm going to say Crud operation. That's my database name. Then I will say create. You come here, you hit on create. So after creating it, wait for it. It's going to ask you how many fields do you want, how many columns do you want. But what you are going to do, I want something like this. You want something like this. Remember, this is what you are. This is our project. This is our demo. So I want name. I want a password. Okay, I want name, email, mobile, and password. This is what we want. So what I'm going to do when I come back here, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create here a whatever is asking me for the table name. So I'm going to say Crud one. Okay, I didn't click Crud Crud one. So in Crud one, I want here 5 field. I want 5 what columns. I say create. Now, after here, I'm going to give the first thing that I'm going to give here is my ID. So second thing I'm going to give here is my name. So the third thing I'm going to give here is my email. The fourth thing I'm going to give here is my mobile. Then the fifth thing that I'm going to give here is my password. So here, if I don't give it int, if I don't give the length value, by default it will take 11. And now this one for the name, I'll just give this one Varka. I hope this one you are familiar with it. Then here I will also give Varka. Here or mobile also I will give Varka. And in password here, in the password also here, I will give Varka. So when I'm saying what I said earlier on, that if you don't give any length value here, it will take 11 by default. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave here. I'm going to give 100 for name. I'm going to give 100 for email. I'm going to give let me say 20 for mobile, and I'm going to give like 250 for password. So now don't forget one thing. After doing all this, you go the other side. Let me scroll it down. So don't forget one thing. After doing all this, don't forget one thing, that for whatever, for let me zoom it in a bit. Now for ID here, for ID, what you have to do is come here to where you see AI stands for auto what increment. So I come here and I choose what is going to be my primary key. I want it to be my primary key. I'll say it's okay. I'll go with it. So then I come here and I check mark this here. I check mark this. So after check marking that, it's clear. So what I do after all that, I come here and I do what? And I save this. So when I save this, it's going to proceed. And there, our table is already created. Now you see we have inside our create operation, we are having ID, name, email, mobile, and what? And password. So this is how we create our database using what? Using using XAMPP. So after creating this database, so we are going to after that you have downloaded XAMPP. So you go to where anywhere you whatever that you downloaded your XAMPP, where you stored your XAMPP. while installing it. For my case, I did it in local disk C. So what I'm going to do, I go to local disk C here. I go down here. You're going to see XAMPP. You open XAMPP. You go to htdocs. You open it. So from there, you create one folder inside here. You create one folder. I'm going to create here one folder like this. New folder. I'm going to create that folder, and maybe I will call it Crud, because we are dealing with Crud. I'm going to call it Crud, Crud 2. That's what I'm going to call it, because I have Crud here. So if I make this another, I've already created Crud here, but now this is another Crud I'm creating. So you can't use the same name. So I'm going to call this one Crud 2. So now after creating it, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on it like this. I open it. I right click on it, and I open with my code, the Visual Studio Code that I don't know. You can use any code editor, but for my case here, I'm using Visual Studio Code. Now after I zoom this in. So I zoom this in. Now, this is our folder where we created inside what inside is inside XAMPP in another directory called htdocs. So after creating this, so what you do is simple. So you come here. I'm telling you what I told you earlier on, that we shall be looking at delete, create, read, and what, and update. But today's tutorial, we are going to see how we can connect. So the first thing here we are going to do here, this is our create 2. So inside create 2, I'm going to create a file called what? Connect dot what? Dot PHP. Because remember, you're going to use PHP. I'm going to say this one. I don't want. So I enter it. So here, after creating connect.php as one file, so it's here where we are going to write our code that's going to help, that's going to connect with our database there. So now what we are going to use is we are going to use what? PHP. Now I'll open the PHP syntax here very quickly. PHP syntax there. I enter. This is a PHP syntax. So inside here is where we are going to write our code for connecting what? To connect to our database. So what I'm going to do, simple, very simple here. I'm going to first give one variable called connect. Now that you can say in full, you can write connect in full. Other people, you can write with double N, you can just write with a single N, but you make sure that everything you do here, you be consistent, so that if you write here with one N here, in another thing, when you're calling that variable, you don't write with double N again. If you write with single N, you make sure that you be consistent. If you write with double N also, you make sure that you be consistent. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say connect as my variable one. I say is equal to new my what? My SQL is what we are connecting to. So I open my bracket like this. So inside there, I open a single quote. I say I want to connect to what? I want my local what? My local host is what I'm connecting to. That's the first one. So I put here, after I put here comma like this, I open another quotation like this. I say it's a root by default. I come here, I open. Now to connect to our database, we have few things that we are connecting. When you are installing that XAMPP, XAMPP is acting as our local host, and I told you that's going to help our system to run in what? In any browser. Then secondly, a root also comes with the WAMP when you install. Then thirdly, what again comes to with XAMPP is the password. Sometimes when you install that XAMPP, there's how it when you download it, it requires you to enter some password for security purposes. But some other people, they don't put password to their what? To their XAMPP. For in my case, I did not change any password. So what I did, I'm going to just open a double quotation like that. I'm going to open a single quotation like that. I skip it because I don't have password. So now what we do here, we are going to pass our database name. I'm going to open another quotation, a single quotation. So I say our database was what? Was Crud operation. I think that was the name of what? Of our database. And don't forget this at the end. So here simply means, so when we are connected to our database, we are connected to the local host, the root, password, and the database name. Now, where you're not understanding, please, where you're not understanding, please, you are free to write a comment down and you let me know. So when we are connecting to our database, there are few things, there are 4 things that we consider. You consider the host name, that is a local host, and then we have the root, we have the password, then we have the database itself that we are connecting to. So as we are writing this code, I'm going to show you something. So right now here, if I am going to enter, then what I'm going to do, I am going to check my what? I'm going to check my connection here. So what I'm going to do, I'll bring back my variable. I'll bring back my variable here. I say con like that, and I'm checking this. I open this, I enter it. I say I will echo that if my connection is okay. I bring this time, I'll bring double quotation. I say if my connection, I'll just write something here, is okay. See, don't forget always this. So I'm here saying if my connection, if my connection here is okay, if okay, if what I'm trying to mean here, say if everything is okay with my database is as connected, then I just want this information here to be echoed in my website that connection is okay. You can write here anything. You can say connection successful, you have connected to database, welcome to this site, anything, as long as what you echo here, it's what should be displayed in our website. So from here I will say I'll go and I will from here I'll enter this. From here, what I'm going to do, here, I'm going to say else. I will say else like this. Else, die. This is some programming language that we use here. Die. I will open my bracket. Then I want you to show me my SQL. My SQL what? Underscore error. I want you to show my error where I went wrong. So and there the error of what? I'll bring this variable back, that is my con, and don't forget this at the end like this. Now this simply means that if my connection is okay, if I've connected to my database, if I've connected to database, then I want this information to be displayed as connection is okay. Then or else if the connection is not okay, if I've not connected to my database, then I want my SQL to display an error where I go to where I miss, like where I didn't put things right, like where there's an error. Like for example, what I'm saying here, that here simply means that we know very well how if function work. If function first come with, if my connection is fine, then echo connection is okay. Or else, if my SQL is not connected, then show me my SQL error. So if I save this code, I'm going to save this and I come here, I'm going to copy this path and I go to my web. I'm going to open my browser rather. I'm going to come here and I paste this. So what I'm going to do here, I will delete away this. Remember what is hosting our site is localhost. I'm going to write here local host like that, and I bang enter. So well, let me zoom it in, and you are now seeing here connection is okay in our site, in our website. Is here connection is okay, meaning we have successfully connected to our database. Now if I go back to my code here, if I go back to here to my code where I say connection is okay, now see what happens. If I put here where there is localhost and I add here one host like this, I had here one, and I add here one S from the host. So see what I save this, see what is going to happen. When I go here and I refresh this, when I go here and I refresh it, you see that I'm getting a lot of errors that I don't understand. Warning MySQL, contract, PHP, network like this, because there is something that's wrong there. I say, so when I come here and I correct and I remove this S, then I save this again and I go back to my site here and I refresh, I get my connection is okay. Then again, if I come here back, I go back to my, and instead of my database here where there is Crud operation, the name of my database, let me put with double N like this, and I save and I go to my site and I refresh. See, I'm getting fatal error, uncached MySQL, expected unknown database name, Crud, something like that, because this data, we don't have that database. We don't have the name of that database in our database that we created. That's the reason why we are getting this error. Now, to clean that error, you come back here, remove that one N, and save your work, and go back here to your site, and you come and refresh here, and everything is okay. Now, after connecting all those things, and you know your connection is now okay, and I don't want that message to be displayed that connection is okay. So what I'm going to do here is very simple. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove away this. I'm going to remove away this here like this. I'm going to remove this like this. I move this. Then I want to remain with this to know that my connection is okay. So here I'm saying that if I've connected here, if my database is connected, then only show me my what? My SQL. So this one I'm going to go like this, and I save this. When I come here and I refresh this, you don't see anything here like connection okay, connection successful, but you see I'm having a clean site here, meaning that I've successfully connected to my database. Ladies and gentlemen, this tutorial, I never want it to be long, and the next tutorial we shall learn how to enter information into our site and it will go to our database. Thank you for watching. My name is Joram.